Mr. Whalen reads!
Hiya friends, it's Mr. Whalen here. I have brought you another story, and this is an important one. We have a day off school coming up soon, January 18th this year, Monday, January 18th, coming right up. And that day off is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And we hear about it in school. Maybe we don't know a lot about Martin Luther King Jr. and why we have a day for him. So this book is called Happy Birthday, Martin Luther King. Happy Birthday, Martin Luther King. It was written by Jean Marzollo and illustrated by Brian Pinkney. So Martin Luther King is the man who has the birthday that we celebrate on the day that's coming up. Martin Luther King Jr. did so many important things in our country. The country's still got a lot of work to do. It's very sad how much work we still have to do, but Martin Luther King Jr. did some amazing things. Him and the people who marched with him and worked with him made amazing changes in this country, and still a lot more changing to go, but it was Martin Luther King Jr. who got a lot of that started. And so we have him to thank, and so we celebrate his birthday every year, and I'm glad that we do. And so I wanted to share this book with you, which is an easy way to learn about Martin Luther King. So I had fun reading this. It's an honor to share it with you. Hope you enjoy it. Happy Birthday, Martin Luther King, by Jean Marzollo, illustrated by Brian Pinkney. Happy birthday, Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15th, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia. His parents loved him very much. Martin Luther King had the same name as his father, except for one thing. His father was called Martin Luther King Sr. Martin was called Martin Luther King Jr. Martin went to elementary school, high school, and college in Atlanta. He was a good student. Later, he went to divinity school in Pennsylvania. Martin became a pastor, just like his dad, at the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. They were both called Reverend. The Reverend Martin Luther King Sr. and the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Martin's job as a minister was to help people in need. He visited sick people in the hospital and made them feel better. He asked people not to fight with each other. He said that there were peaceful ways to solve problems. And like his father, Martin led people in prayer and song. The Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. is famous because he helped our country change some of its laws. A law is like a rule. Once there was a law in some places that said only white people could sit in the front of a bus and that black people had to sit in the back. Martin Luther King said this law needed to be changed. Rosa Parks and other people helped him change it. Now, people can sit in any empty seat they like. Once there were laws in some places that said that African Americans could only use certain restaurants and drinking fountains. Martin Luther King and many other people helped change these laws. Now, all people can share the same restaurants and drinking fountains. Once there was a law in some places that said that black children and white children couldn't go to school together. Martin Luther King and other people, including many very brave children, had this law changed too. Now black children and white children can go to school together. Martin Luther King had a special talent for leadership. When he spoke, people listened. Poor people, rich people, white people, black people, and people from all around the world listened when Martin Luther King spoke. Many helped him work, march, sing, and pray for justice. In the summer of 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. gave the most famous speech of his life. He gave it outdoors to 250,000 people who had come to Washington, D.C. to ask the president for jobs and freedom for Black people. In his speech, Martin Luther King said that he had a dream. His dream was that people everywhere would learn to live together without being mean to one another. Martin Luther King Jr. was shot and killed in 1968. Because he loved poor people so much, he was given a special funeral in Atlanta, Georgia, where he was born. His body was put in a simple farm cart and pulled slowly by 2 mules to a cemetery. Thousands of people walked behind Martin in a sad, loving parade. On his gravestone were carved these beautiful words: "Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I'm free at last." Martin Luther King wanted people to be able to go to places together, share food together, and love one another in peace. Because he worked so hard for freedom and helped so many people gain it, we honor him every year on his special day. We call this day Martin Luther King Day, and we say to him, "Happy birthday, Martin Luther King."